Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome guys, ahlan wa sahlan. Hope you guys are well. Another Friday here, and alhamdulillah, another time to reflect on the week. So lockdown is continuing, and I don't know what you guys make of lockdown, but it's something that we all have to. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear. Let me know if the sound is working. Should be working, hopefully, inshallah. Okay, yeah, so if you guys can hear the sound, put in the comments, inshallah. So yeah, alhamdulillah, again, wa alaikum assalam, Wahid. How was your Juma, Wahid? Wa alaikum assalam, Abu Yusuf. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, marhaban. Sound is echoing. Let me have a check. Is it okay now? 1, 2, 3, testing. Any better? Okay, so Walaikum assalam, Manfado, Al-Yasar, Walaikum assalam, Ahlan wa sahlan from Philippines, Angela, Ahlan wa sahlan, Kamran, Walaikum assalam, HK, Jazakallah khair, Abu Yusuf. So the setup's a bit different today, back to old today. I wasn't going to do a long Friday live session today because I've got a talk later on for National Zakat Foundation on Zakat. So I need to keep my energy up, and then later on after that I've got a radio appeal that I'm going to be taking part in. So I don't want to exhaust myself, especially in Ramadan, and get tired. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah. Crypto. So the sound still not good. Wahid, alhamdulillah, Dhuhr at home, Juma going good, alhamdulillah, being bank holiday, so no. Oh yeah, bank holiday today, isn't it? Hassan, alaikum assalam rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, I am very good, Hassan. How are you? How is India? Which part of India are you from? Terate, wa alaikum assalam. So how are you? Thank you so much for the 40 hadith series. Very knowledgeable and beneficial. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, I'm going to try to complete all of them, inshallah. Come on, the camera quality seems different. Is it looking, is the camera quality looking a bit lower than normal? Is it a bit lower than normal? Because what I've done is I've actually lowered the image quality in order for the streaming to be faster. So what I found last time was the streaming, because it was set on 4K streaming, so I think that was causing a lot of lag as well. Shaqim, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah. Tired of fasting? Yeah, you get tired, you get really exhausted. What do you eat for suhoor? So suhoor today I had porridge, and I had toast, marmalade, I had some peanut butter as well, I had some nuts. Yeah, so I had a few things today. What did you have? What was for your suhoor? Okay, I don't know if I spelled that properly. Is that Karnataka? Karnataka. Am I saying it right? I'm probably saying it messed up. Where is that in somewhere? It sounds like somewhere in South India. Muhammad Uddin, quality seems better. Oh, this seems better this time. Wonder why. Oh, it seems much more clear. Yeah, so this is, I'm borrowing this camera. This is a 4K camera. I'm thinking about getting it. So at the moment, because of lockdown and all that, a lot of they're out of stock basically. So this is a 4K camera. The previous one I had was a 1080p. So 4K is much higher quality, but the only problem is if you have 4K, you have to have a good internet connection for it to be able to run at 4K. Otherwise, it creates lag, and then the computer has to be so at the moment, the computer that I've got, it can't last long with 4K because of OBS. So that's the problem. So I mean, I might do a tutorial on the equipment that I use, but if you want to do a very good quality live stream, you have to have a very good camera, at least 4K camera. You have to have a very good hardware computer that can process the information very fast, so it doesn't lag. So a lot of what happens is a lot of people, when they use OBS, the computer lags and it kind of like flickers, right? So the screen won't be showing smoothly, and you need to have a very good internet connection. That's the key basically. Muhammad Uddin, you had a rice and lamb. Allah, making me hungry, man. Shaykh, first few days of fasting doesn't feel that bad. Yeah, first few days okay. After that, I think after 10, once you're after 10, then all your body uses up all of the reserves, and then you're just lasting on the food that you're eating. And I think that's why it's very important to eat like proper food, nutritious food, balanced as well. Eat balanced food. So don't just eat one type of food all the time, because if you eat one type of food, you're not getting all the nutrients. So eat like different types of food. Sometimes eat rice, sometimes eat bread, sometimes eat vegetables, sometimes eat lots of fruit. QA Salam, please make dua for I'm feeling lost and I forgot everything. Feeling lost and forgot everything. Allah, what do you mean you've forgotten everything? As in, you mean you've forgotten everything in life, or amnesia? Shakim, after a few weeks you will feel the pain. Yeah, they say, isn't it? The doctors say that when you fast regularly, what happens is your body, immune system strengthens, so you're going to feel pain in your body because it's repairing itself. That's what they say. Have you had watermelon yet? Yes, watermelon, I have it nearly every day. Yeah, nearly every day watermelon. You are right, brother. It's South India and you pronounced it right. Allahu Akbar. I need to learn Tamil. You speak Tamil, don't you? So I think I'm going to have to learn Tamil. Yeah, once I learn Tamil, then that's it. That's it. New Tamil live streams coming up. Yeah. I'm going to be competing with all the Tamil media. Yes, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Crypto, there is a hadith going around about getting the reward of paradise for reading Ayatul Kursi after every salat. Is this true? I don't know. You're going to have to show me the hadith. If you show me the hadith, maybe the wording, or then I can maybe look it up. There's a hadith which says, I think it's in Ibn Majah, that whoever reads Ayatul Kursi after every salat, nothing comes between them and Jannah except death. There's that hadith. That's a reliable hadith. Kamran, is the Virgin Connection fiber optic should be fine if so. So the connection that I've got is the normal one, the normal Virgin one. I don't think it's a super fiber optic. Its upload speed is gets to about 5 to 10, and download gets to, I think it's about 70 something. Made homemade barfi and keema naan. Allah, bro, you need to show me the pictures of it, man. Homemade barfi and keema. I need to come down your house. Come on. Don't worry, I'll stay 2 meters away. Ibrar wa alaikum assalam. Abdullah, could you tell us more about Laylatul Qadr? Could it start from the 21st night? Yeah, Laylatul Qadr could start from the 21st night. So Laylatul Qadr, we don't know exactly when Laylatul Qadr is. It's just like one of those kind of hidden, mysterious sort of nights. And it could be on the 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th. One of those odd nights. And the aim is to try and, worship Allah in these nights as much as possible. How did you learn to edit YouTube videos? Well, I learned it myself, really. I learned it myself. A lot of I got some help from people that I knew. Got some few tips from them. But a lot of the stuff I learned it from trial and error, from YouTube videos, tutorials. So it took me a while to learn, but alhamdulillah, it's not difficult. It's something that's learnable, I would say. You don't really need to be very, very educated to know how to do it. And then it depends what kind of software you use as well. So at the moment I use iMovie, which is a free software. And however, if you look at the videos, the Quran series videos that I make, that my editor does that, and I think he uses Premiere Pro or something. That's a bit advanced, that is. That requires a bit of, you can say, training in that. Shaqim, strange, I didn't lose any weight this Ramadan. Don't worry, man, don't worry, you still got time. You still got time, and you still got more than half of Ramadan left. Or about half left. Hanzala, wa alaikum assalam. I'm starting the Alim course. Any advice for boarding students? I mean, have you studied Arabic before? Are you a Hafiz? Isa, someone I know committed suicide yesterday. I don't want to live either. Life is a curse. The longer I live, the more likely I am to leave Islam. May Allah give you shifa, my brother. May Allah make things easy for you. Okay, Muhammad Uddin, Hamad. Is it Hamadan? Is your name Hamadan? Hamadan? May Allah grant you Jannah, O Shaykh, Liaqat Zaman. Ameen. And all of you guys as well. Nahiduddin, Assalamu alaikum. What's your view on Milad? Is it established okay to do? So I've answered this question previously many times. Milad, I mean, if the concept of Milad is that you're happy the Prophet ﷺ has come in this world, then every Muslim should rejoice at that. Every Muslim should be happy. Every Muslim should make dua for the Prophet ﷺ. And so doing it in any fashion is allowed, as long as a person doesn't do anything which is contrary to Islam, like obviously drink alcohol and stuff like that. And as long as a person does not believe that the way that they're doing it, like for example, if they're having like an event or something, that as long as they believe the way they're doing it is not specifically is mentioned in the Sharia, then it's fine. Anyway. I'm not that fat. Okay, crypto. Yes, you quoted the correct hadith about the Ayatul Kursi. Is this a common practice of the Salaf and ulama of later generations? I don't know if it's a common practice of the later generations, but it's something, because it's come in a hadith and it's reliable, it's acceptable, then it's something that can be practiced. Yeah, practicing it is fine. So whether something has to be, I mean, something does not have to be a practice of the Salaf for it to become like something valid for us to do. As long as it's been established in the early generations, then it's fine. Okay, Muhammad Uddin. Manfado Hazard, I was reading Ibn Hazm opinion on Laylatul Qadr being on even nights on last 10 days. There's 29 days of Ramadan. What's your opinion on this? I haven't read his opinion. No, I haven't read his opinion about this. I haven't come across him saying that it's on the even nights. I mean, where is this mentioned? If you could let me know, maybe I could, in my time, I could read up on it. Kamran, are you supposed to read Ayatul Kursi after the Fard prayer? So the Hanafis, generally they say after the Fard prayer you don't really read anything. You just read in Allahumma anta salam minka salam tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram, and then you do your sunnahs. That you do after the sunnahs basically. But some of them say you are allowed to do after the Fard. like Imam al-Halwani. Muhammad Raqib al-Hasan Sheikh, I have a question. Yes, what is your question? Rukhsar Manzoor, brother, which camera and mic you use for streaming? So for streaming, I use something called a Logitech Brio. Logitech Brio. That's what I use. And the mic I use is this mic. This is the mic I use. It's called a Blue Yeti Pro. A Blue Yeti Pro. Hanzala Shahid, I got 3 Separa left of Hifz but haven't started Arabic. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So are you going to complete your Hifz? Why don't you complete your Hifz then? Muhammad Raqib, Sheikh, please say about Surah Furqan, Ayah 61. What is, if you can quote the Ayah? I don't know. I haven't memorized the Ayah numbers. Wa alaikum assalam, Sufyan, mashallah, jazakallah khair for all your support for this channel. May Allah reward you and give your parents Jannatul Firdaus and give you guys barakah in your time and your effort. Jazakallah khair, Sufyan the man. The Derby man now. Now I know where you're from, Derby. I'm gonna go stalk you, bro. Shafat Khan, what is the meaning of Rabbuna and Rabbana in Arabic and their difference? They're both the same thing. It's just a grammatical difference. So I don't know, have you studied Arabic grammar? So it would take a bit of time to explain Arabic grammar. So what I would suggest is anyone who wants to study Arabic grammar, below on the screen you can see the email address. And you can sign up for the 17 lessons Arabic grammar, and in there inshallah you will learn about this. Yeah, you will learn about this, and in 17 lessons you'll start to be able to read Quran and start to understand. You won't understand all of it, but you start to understand. And mashallah, this week we had 3 or 4 people finishing the course. Alhamdulillah, every week we have people finishing the course. So you can do the course in your own time. But the good thing about it is at the end of it you have a connection with the Quran. You can directly start understanding Arabic things in the Quran, Arabic sentences, words in the Quran. Why, Ahmed, if Laylatul Qadr is on one specific night, some people will do it a day earlier, later, depending on when they started Ramadan. Are both accepted, or is it one specific night? So this kind of like question goes into the realm of trying to understand the unseen. So the unseen cannot be understood, right? It's beyond comprehension. So because the unseen cannot be comprehended, we have to be told about the unseen. So it's like some people, they feel, it's a very common thing. Sometimes some people will feel something to kind of gauge whether they think this thing is right in Islam or not, right? For example, like someone might feel, is this talk, is it right? Or for example, maybe they feel that what the Shaykh is saying is right or wrong, or they do some dhikr and they try to feel it is right or wrong. That's not how Islam works. Islam works upon following Allah's message. Yeah, that's what it is. Following Allah's message, how it was taught by the Prophet ﷺ and passed down by the Sahaba. This is what Islam basically is. So this is why when it comes to these kind of like details about Laylatul Qadr, we don't know exactly about Laylatul Qadr. The Prophet ﷺ told us it's going to be on one of the odd nights, and he would, last 10 nights, he would focus on ibadah in the last 10 nights anyway. So this is why, Laylatul Qadr does not necessarily have to be on one night, like we understand the calendar as to be one night. Laylatul Qadr can be something which is beyond time and space, right? So it's not restricted to time and space. Does that make sense? So I think a lot of people, what tends to happen is, especially with these kind of like differences, how Saudi does Hajj on this day, and so and so does Hajj on this day. Saudi does Eid on this day, and so does Eid on this day. How can they both be the same? So this is if you think that Allah works with time, as in Allah's blessings and Allah's concepts, they work with time. They don't necessarily work with time. These are things that, I'll give you an example. Like for instance, let's say you prayed Zuhr. Let's say Zuhr starts at 12 o'clock, and you prayed your Zuhr at 11 o'clock in the morning, and someone prayed their Zuhr at 1 o'clock. The two people might not be able to feel whether they're right or wrong. Like you can't feel it. By you just praying your Zuhr before its time doesn't necessarily mean that you feel the Zuhr is right. It's something which is just accepted by Allah. But because Allah and the Prophet ﷺ told us about praying on time, that's why we have to stick to those parameters. Okay, Boss HD Gamers, what Arabic would you recommend, or Arabic book would you recommend advice for beginners? Like what kind of Arabic you want? Arabic grammar, Arabic reading, or what kind of? HK Sheikh, is the understanding correct? If I give £1 in charity on Laylatul Qadr, it is as though I've given 30,000, since every act you do is as if it has been done. So you see, this kind of like multiplication that we kind of do. The Quran simply says that Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alf shahr. Laylatul Qadr is better than 1,000 months. Yeah. So now, what does this mean? Is better than 1,000 months? Does it mean that if you do an ibadah in this night, it will be multiplied 1,000 times as though you did it on 1,000 nights? Is that what it means? Or does it mean that any ibadah done, if you were to do ibadah for 1,000 nights, the reward of that would be equal to if you do that same ibadah once on the Laylatul Qadr? Does that make sense? So this is why this is not something which is categorical exactly. What does it mean that you're... So when people pull out their calculators and they start trying to work out, this isn't the aim of reward system, that you try and become like an accountant and you try to work out your reward exactly specifically. You just try to do it hoping that Allah will multiply your reward. Yeah, like that. So that's basically how we see things. Right. So sometimes, like there's some people sending around, what was it? Whoever reads Surah Ikhlas gets a reward of 1/3 of the Quran. So like some people, that's the hadith. Now some people, what they'll try and do is say, okay, if you read Surah Ikhlas and you get a reward of 1/3 of the Quran, then what will happen if you read it 3 times? Then subhanallah, you're going to get a reward of an entire khatam, because 1/3 plus 1/3, 2/3 plus another third, 3/3. It doesn't work like that. If I say to you, the engine of a car is 1/3 of the car. The engine of the car is 1/3 of the car. If I bought 3 car engines, does that mean I've got a car? It doesn't, does it? So this logic, when people try to use their logic and calculators and accountancy, whatever, they try to figure things out in Islam, they make big mistakes. Right? So we just stick to whatever Allah and the Prophet ﷺ have told us. We stick to what they said without trying to, nitpick and pull hairs and all that. So if you gave, basically on Laylatul Qadr, if you give £1, it's as though you gave £1. It's as though you gave £1 for 1,000 months. Imagine like that. How to focus in Salat. So the best thing to focus in Salat is do wudu properly, and before you start your Salat, pray 2 rakats of Nafal or 4, however much ever you want. Read a little bit of Quran as well, and then do your Salat, and then you'll find lots of khushu in your Salat, inshallah. Okay, Nahid, Salam Sheikh. Any advice would you give to a young person, a woman and guy of different races wanting to get married, but parents don't approve due to race culture? Yeah, it's a difficult kind of thing. I mean, see, the thing is, I'm not an expert in this. I'm not an expert in these kind of issues, so I wouldn't really be the best person to ask about this. This is more to do with social problems. Yeah, social problems. People in the community who have lots of experience in this field would be the best people to ask. And it's unfortunately, it's in a lot of places. Pakistanis not wanting to marry certain communities, even inside of Pakistanis, some communities not wanting to marry, inside of another community that's still from Pakistan, but they just don't want them to marry into them. And then you have outside, like for example, white not marrying black, or black not marrying white, or Asian marrying so and so. So you get these problems, unfortunately, and they could be for many reasons. Could be because of racism. Unfortunately, there might be some deep racism, or it could be simply because they're xenophobic, right? Not racist, but just xenophobic. They don't like foreigners in their community, right? In their family, right? Because everyone on the Eid day is going to be doing Eid in a certain way, and then this one new person's come in the family and they don't know how to adjust. So I think a lot of people that have this is families that are very sort of like community orientated. So you get some communities who are very tight community orientated. They only want to marry of a specific community, and then inside that community a specific section of that community. So yes, it's a good question, and I mean, unfortunately, I that's not what I'm trained in to be able to help you with. Okay, Shakim, what do you think? What do you think of those who recite the Joshan Kabir dua during Ramadan? I don't know what that is. Sheikh, what is the meaning of Qamarum Munir? Qamarum Munir. Qamar means moon, Munir means illuminated. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Qamar means moon, and Munir means illuminated, like bright. Qamarum Munir. Yeah, so like at night time on the 15th, day of the month, the lunar month, the moon is very bright, so it's like very illuminating. You call it a Qamar Munir. Please say about it. Yeah, that's all I can think of. I don't know. Is there something specific you want to ask about that? Manfado Hazrat, the opinion of Ibn Hazm is in Fazail A'mal in the chapter of Laylatul Qadr. Number 4, he based it on technicality. It's quite interesting. Okay, I'll have a check, inshallah. As Hussein, I was reciting a new surah in my Taraweeh and I stumbled on a word. When I finished the prayer, I realized I got the word wrong. Is it sufficient to do istighfar for that mistake? Yeah, it would be sufficient. It's do istighfar. I mean, as long as you didn't make like a really major mistake which would render your salat to have to be repeated, then it would be okay. The salat would be fine. Kamran, is it better to read Quran surah by surah or juz by juz at a time? Up to you. Both are fine. There wasn't any juz in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. There wasn't any juz. Juz came later. So the juz dividing the Quran into 30 parts, this came later. In the time of the Sahaba, it was surahs. London, what is the ruling on rolling up trousers above the ankles before salat? It's fine. Salat. I mean, there are some who say that the Prophet ﷺ didn't dislike people rolling up their trousers. This was out of arrogance. So some people had their trousers falling down, so they didn't want their trousers to touch the ground. So if it's done out of arrogance, a form of like you don't want your clothes to touch the ground, then that's disliked. What's the order of your courses? Is it 17 lessons followed by Ajurumiyah? So 17 lessons, then Surah Yasin, then you can do Ajurumiyah or you can do Surah Mulk, and then Balagha. And then I've also started Sharh Qatr al-Nada as well. Advice for boarding alim course. Boarding alim course, it all depends, because I studied in boarding in Pakistan. I stayed 9 years. It all depends. I mean, it depends what kind of people you're studying with. It depends what kind of environment you're in, your age as well. I would not advise boarding for anyone under the age of 18. I wouldn't advise it for anyone under the age of 18. I think it's very it's generally very harmful to upbringing, right? Because people need to know what's happening in the world. They need to have some experience in the world. Why now? Assalamu alaikum. A lot of people don't brush their teeth while fasting because of the hadith that Allah Ta'ala loves the smell of coming out from the fasting person's mouth, and as a result their breath smells really bad. Is that the correct understanding of the hadith? Yeah, so good question this is. So this is another example of where the Prophet ﷺ mentions that the odor from the fasting person's mouth is more beloved to Allah than musk. So the Hanafis, they don't take it to mean the unbrushed teeth. They don't take it to mean that. What they take it to mean is, because obviously smell coming from a person's mouth, the Prophet ﷺ has prohibited people from having bad odor coming from their mouth to come to salat. Yeah, he said anyone that has eaten garlic or has eaten raw onions, don't come to our mosques until the smell goes. So we know the Prophet ﷺ was very particular about smells, and he disliked, he didn't even like the smell of mendi, henna. He didn't even like the smell of that. So he was very particular about smells. So on one hand we have these narrations of the Prophet ﷺ being very particular about smells. So this is why the Hanafis say that when it comes to the idea of the mouth smelling of musk, it's not physical smell. It's the smell which is due to the hunger. So the hunger in the stomach, right? It's that smell which doesn't necessarily have to be detected by another person, right? And it's something where obviously musk musk doesn't smell, the mouth doesn't smell of musk. But Allah saying that it's more beloved to Allah than musk shows that it doesn't necessarily mean like physical smell. It's something which is metaphysical, the smell is. So this is why the Hanafis say cleaning the teeth is totally fine. I know the Shafis, Imam Shafi rahimahullah says after midday cleaning the teeth is disliked. Right, so until midday you can clean them, after them it's disliked. But this is where it comes to ikhtilaf of how you deal with sources, evidences. Yeah, how you deal with evidences and sources. It goes into that issue, and then like we have problems today because now you have an issue where you're talking to someone who's got really bad smell coming from their mouth. They haven't cleaned their teeth, and they should be cleaning their teeth. Maybe they should be cleaning it before midday, or maybe even, at suhoor time. But yeah, so this is where you have this problem, which is trying to attempt to understand the Sharia as best as possible, and at the same time trying to make sense of how it's applied. Grammar and vocabulary. So grammar and vocabulary depends. What have you studied? I would say if you want to study vocabulary good and vocabulary, then you need to read to someone. Qira'atul Rashida, Qasasun Nabiyyin, these kind of books. These are the books that you wanna really read. Yeah, grammar. You want to read something like Ajurrumiya. So if you check my YouTube channel, I've got Ajurrumiya there, and then lots of application. Nahw al-Wadih is very good for application. 95 grade Mufti, would you recommend any place where it's affordable to study as a married student? It depends where you can go, really. I mean, if you got the money, and you can go abroad, I would say abroad is probably a good option. But the problem is you need to know what you're going to study. That's the thing, right? For example, if you're going to study, you need to know. For example, look, I need to study Arabic, or I need to study Hadith, or I need to study Fiqh. You might not want to enroll yourself into a particular course. You might just want to do certain courses. That's what you might do. So I would say for different people, it would be a different thing. The problem with studying in madrasas for like adults, for people who are quite mature, is they can't fit in with the approach, because the madrasa approach is more of like a children's approach, where everyone's treated the same and everyone's got to follow the routine. It's like school basically. And people who are mature usually have gone through college and university, and they like to understand things, that they like to be explained things as a way of trying to understand the topic. Whereas in madrasa it's more about just like drilling it in. Understanding is something that will come later. So that's why I would say a lot of time mature students find it difficult to fit in. So that's why I said, it's all depends. By the way, what did you guys think of the podcast so far? We've got some good feedback, and we've got some negative feedback as well. Alhamdulillah, all types of feedback is welcome. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of the one thing is the setting of podcast is never going to be like a live Q&A. It's not going to be something like that. It's going to be more relaxed. And I understand that a lot of people like never see like scholarly people. Have never seen scholarly people. A lot of people have never seen scholarly people, or for example graduates, outside of talks. So the image that a lot of people have of someone who's graduated or has done like alim course, or gives talks now and again, the image they have is that they're very serious about Islam. They don't laugh too much in the day. They're very sort of like strict in that sense. Yeah. And this is obviously a false image. This is a false image of people, in their minds envisaging what scholars like. Someone would think of Mufti Menk and think Mufti Menk would never sit with his family and laugh and joke, and maybe would never watch cartoons, or he would never play any like computer games or football or cricket. But sometimes when you see him make some videos and he does something that's sort of random, you get shocked. Like, how is this? Why is this? And I know that this is, for a lot of people, maybe it's not good that scholars, that many people are aware of how scholars are outside of the talks, outside off the screen. Yeah, because they'll see them as normal people, and then maybe that's the kind of thing which they used to hold the scholar so high up, and they could never imagine the scholar going and going to Tesco's and Asda and having a chat with a worker there, or laughing at someone, or so I think this is the kind of society that we live in. It's very difficult for a lot of people, especially when they kind of come from one sort of like approach in Islam, to be able to understand how things are. And I mean, and if someone has studied, for example, Arabic adab al-Arabi, a classical understanding of Arabic language and how Sahaba used to talk to each other, you'd be quite shocked. You'd be amazed at how Sahaba were so chilled out and would joke around and would say things that that you'd probably not even imagine, because the way that you kind of like see the past scholars is in one image. You only see those parts of their life, like very few incidents of their life, and then you imagine the rest of their life has to be like that. Like you imagine Umar always crying. You hear the narration of Umar having marks on his cheeks. So you imagine Umar would never laugh, he would never joke, he was always serious, he would always kind of shout at people. But that wasn't the case. Yeah, and that's due to obviously a lack of understanding of our predecessors. Yeah, when we have this one sort of like understandings, one image of the predecessors, first of all, it makes it very difficult for us to be able to live up to that standard, right? Because then we think to ourselves, we can never live up to the standard of Sahaba. Sahaba were always in sajda. Sahaba were always crying to Allah. Sahaba were always giving charity. Sahaba never, wasted their time. They never sat watching live streams. Yeah, who are we? We were nothing. We are. So it gives a false image of our predecessors, and I think this is a very wrong thing. If you read the books of adab, you'll find loads of kind of jokes and things in the times of the Sahaba and Tabi'een that they used to say. So this is why the whole point of the podcast is to be relaxed, to be able to see a softer side of people that you might see on social media, or you might see them on giving talks. It's a more relaxed side of it. But I don't know, you guys let me know what you guys think of the podcast, because I'm thinking whether we should continue it after Ramadan. So if there's not much benefit in there, if it's not really kind of benefiting, then I think maybe we might just knock it on the head or something. But if people are benefiting, people are starting to see a more sort of like approachable way of it's not really entertainment, is it? You don't want to call it entertainment. It's not Hollywood or Bollywood, not kind of replacing that. It's more of people being confident and stronger in their religion, and understanding that, look, this is how application of Islam has been. May Allah bless your efforts and grant you a home near Him in Jannah. Ameen. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. A.B. says, Assalamu alaikum. My wife is not waking up for Fajr, misses Suhoor, prefers to sleep. Argues while fasting, uses foul language. We have a 4-year-old son, screams and argues with him. Don't care what neighbors think of us. Talks loud. The only good thing is she cooks good. What can I do? Allah Akbar. If you cooks good, mashallah, that's the main thing, that is, bro. As long as she can cook good. I'm not expert in this field. I've got to be honest with you. What I would suggest is you both need to talk to a marriage counselor. That's what you need to talk to. Yeah, it just seems as though you got some problems in your marriage, and you both need to sit with a marriage counselor. It can be a Muslim, it can be a non-Muslim, doesn't matter. Or maybe even some family member that both of you respect, and just talk it out. Usually that's what the Quran says. Yeah, you just get someone who can represent both sides, and then you talk to them, and then if it's going to work, it's going to work. Sometimes what happens is you talk to a marriage counselor. Marriage counselor will tell you like some problems in your marriage, will point it out, and those underlying problems are the real problems for the marriage, and then everything else is just a byproduct. So like arguing and shouting and abusing one another, those are just byproducts. There's an underlying problem in the marriage. Could be you, could be her, could be both of you, right? So my advice would be seek counseling. That's the best thing. Pay them, seek counseling, professional counseling. Kamran, can you use siwak whilst fasting? Yes. Shari Musab, you are looking so Jazakallah khair, Shari, mashallah, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. This is the noor of Ramadan. Yeah, and also obviously having a bath as well. Noor and having a bath. Isa Khan, praying in Jamaat with gaps valid? Yes. The salat will be valid, but it's not ideal. Are you asking whether it will be valid? Valid is different, ideal is different. So according to majority of the scholars, having gaps will not render the salat invalid, but is considered to be highly disliked to have unnecessary gaps. But if there is a necessity, like for example COVID situation, and you can't stand next to each other, then you can have a gap. Okay, London, watched your 3 dates. Just a comment, you managed to summarize the tawassul and istighatha in 3 minutes. Others took 3 hours and still came to the same conclusion. Yeah, I mean, I don't really kind of like answering these kind of questions, but I just like kind of giving people a synopsis, overview of what it is and get on with it. Otherwise, I know these kind of things can become very, very long-winded. Jazakallah khair. Isa Khan, can you combine nafal intention with a sunnah muakkada salat? Will it be valid to combine awabin nafal mentioned with the 2 sunnah muakkada of maghrib? So possibly, yeah, possibly, because see, this kind of topic is a topic which is the nafal, like, is it the nafal something which is separate, or is it just the Prophet ﷺ saying whoever prays 6 rakats, in at night, yeah, after maghrib, whoever prays 6 rakats, and does that include the sunnahs or does it include the sunnah? That's why these kind of, when people ask this kind of question, I think they don't understand sometimes. You don't understand like what the scholars mean by combining intentions. I think it would be a good idea if I make a video on this. If I make a video, it'll clarify a lot of things. Because a lot of people have this question, can I fast and include my Shawwal in there? 6 fasts of Shawwal. Can I do my Taraweeh and include my Tahajjud in there, etc.? So it's a good question. Hamdeen, I just purchased 17 lessons. Make dua, I'm successful. Alhamdulillah, Muhammadeen. Inshallah, you will be. So what you can do is if you send an email so that you can be added to the WhatsApp group if you want as well. So there's lots of support on there. There's TA on there who can help you as well, and other senior students as well who can give you support as well. So if you email the email and tell them that you've joined, right, and then the admin will give you further information. HK, what time does Laylatul Qadr start? I'm guessing it's from Maghrib to Fajr. That's what the Quran says. Yeah, Hatta matla' al-Fajr. So the night starts from Maghrib, and the Quran says until Fajr starts. Until Fajr. Jazeb Latif, how are you? I am very good, thank you very much. Son, how many rakah minimum in Chast, Duha and Awabin Salat? So Chast, Duha, you can do as many as you like. 2, the Prophet ﷺ done 4, he done even 8 on one occasion. Awabin, there's ikhtilaf what Awabin is. Some of the scholars say Awabin is Duha, and some of them say no, it's after Maghrib. So there's ikhtilaf there. And Awabin is considered to be 6 rakats. Yeah, many say including the sunnahs. Muhammad Raqib, which translation of the Quran would you recommend? I would recommend the Gracious Quran. Gracious Quran, it's a very good one. Okay, ABC. Okay. I just learned today that zakat should be paid on the Islamic calendar and not Gregorian calendar. Is this correct? Yes, that's correct. So if you watch my YouTube video on crash course on zakat, check that inshallah. 3-day podcast, can you break the 4th wall and get more of the audience involved? This can lead to the audience being the 4th member of the host. You can really engage with audience by talking to them. Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. The only problem with the audience is, you see what happens is because so many people are asking questions and so many people are saying things, it's very difficult to choose which one is going to be. Because otherwise, like, you guys know my live stream I do on Saturdays, and sometimes I get through like 100 questions. So what is, we don't want the podcast to take that route, because if it takes the route of answering questions, then we're not going to be able to speak to each other about discussions about that what we kind of planned. So we are on Monday, inshallah, we're going to be hosting a very well-known chef, who's a Muslim chef, practicing brother, mashallah. I think he's a Michelin star chef. Michelin star. You can actually check him out on Instagram, Haludi Foodie. So he does these gourmet meals, very high standard meals. So we're going to be bringing him on, inshallah, and we can speak to him, maybe speak to him about his cooking experience and how he became practicing, and what the problems he finds, and if anyone wants to go into this field of being Muslim. Like, you see some celebrities nowadays like that Nadia, she's become quite famous as well, and she's also practicing as well. And others, what challenges they face. I think it'd be a good idea to kind of talk about that kind of thing. Is that Martin Link's Sirah book in your book? No, that's not. This is the 40 hadith I do. If you guys have seen the 40 hadith book that I do, the course that I do in Ramadan. Yeah, I do it from this. It's a very small book, 40 hadith. Yeah, so yeah, so that's the 40 hadith book I use, and I'm just thinking a lot of you guys have given good feedback about the 40 hadith one. And I'm thinking maybe I should do, like, after I finish the 40 hadith, do another, like, carry on like a 40 hadith sort of like series. Every time I complete one, start another one, because there's quite a few 40 hadith collections. So I'm gonna do a search on the internet for the 40 hadith collections, and maybe like do like a whole kind of thing for it. I don't know, what do you guys think? Podcast is amazing, it needs much more publicity, it's so beneficial and entertaining. Jazakallah khair, Abrar. Masha Abrar, you're always promoting us, man. You're the man, Abrar. We gotta meet one day after COVID. Boss HD, I think you should get topics before and discuss them with different guests. Yeah, definitely, it's a good idea. What kind of topics would you like to hear? That's the question. Podcast, but I will admit it's more for entertainment for me. I was definitely agree that people need to see a less formal and strict. Yeah. So the podcasts are not designed for educational purposes. That's what people need to understand. They're not for education. They're not to kind of give you like a deep understanding of Islam. It's not set for that. What it's set for is to be able to have discussions about things that maybe lots of people have on their mind, like outside the box questions that people have. And as you can see in the past podcasts, we have discussed some very hot topics. So there needs to be like a comfort zone, basically, a comfortable, safe area, where people can feel like, I've got these questions on my mind and I want it to be discussed amongst people. And then sometimes when they hear it being discussed, it kind of gives them some comfort as well. It makes them realize that, look, this is something which there is scope for, or this is something which is outside of the scope of traditional Islam, etc. So that's the kind of idea. And obviously podcasts will develop anyway, so they're never going to be on the same format. They're always going to develop. We're going to realize, okay, we need to change some of this. Maybe we need to make certain podcasts a bit more serious, a bit more academic. Maybe some of them we need to make a bit more light-hearted. And when certain topics pop up as well, like moon wars, Eid issues, and so forth. Shaqim Mufti Mek is funny. Just seeing him is like watching cartoon. Yeah, he's a funny guy. So yeah, definitely keep the feedback coming, inshallah. Is it allowed for male to look at a non-mahram hijabi when conversing, or should he keep his gaze lowered? I see many scholars talk. Yeah, so the scholars say it's lustful gaze. So if you look at someone who is a non-mahram with lustful gaze, that's not allowed. Lustful gaze means sexual kind of gaze. But if there's no there's no like lustful gaze, there's no lustfulness when you're looking, then it's okay to look, but ideally you should try to not look too much. That's what it is. Okay, so Muhammad Aqib, Sheikh, may Allah give you Jannah, Ameen. May Allah give you too Jannah. Patrick, what are the limits of knee cushion? I have a rather thick mat and foam of kind. Yeah, so basically, you mean when you're praying, Patrick? Are you talking about when you're praying? Salam. I hope you are well. MU, Ustad, if you vomit acid flux into your mouth whilst fasting intentionally, does it break your fast? No, it doesn't break fast. The only vomit that the scholars say will break your fast, according to Hanafis, is if you deliberately make yourself vomit. You deliberately make yourself vomit. Patrick, will there be rukhsa? So if you're talking about a prayer mat, right, if you're talking about a prayer mat, which I think you're probably talking about prayer mat, then the prayer mat, you can have it as soft as you like, as long as when you do sajda, it stops, like it starts to go down, and then it stops at one point. Right, so like a mattress, even if you sit on a mattress, even if it's very soft, it goes down and it stops. It doesn't go any further. So as long as it stops. So the scholars say that you shouldn't do sajda on something which doesn't stop going down. It just carries on going down for the entire duration of sajda. That's what you're not allowed to do sajda on. So like imagine there's a kind of like foam, very, very soft foam, and you put your head on there, and it just keeps going down and down and down. And when your sajda finishes, you raise your head, and your head would have still been going down. That's what's not allowed. Yeah, because you're unable to do a firm sajda, basically. I love the podcast, Naveed Ahmed, especially brother Naveed. He's always so serious. Naveed Ahmed, is that you? Naveed Ahmed likes Naveed. He is so serious. You start, what beard oil do you use? So today I didn't use any beard oil. I used tea gel shampoo, basically, on my beard, because I get a bit of dandruff. So I used tea gel shampoo. That's why it looks a bit shiny today. And the camera's a good camera as well. And it's sunny outside, so Noor ala Noor, bro. Crypto, is there in the seerah they mention sometimes they would have to tie stones on their stomachs due to hunger. What does this mean practically? How can you tie stones to your stomach? Yeah, so this is a good kind of like issue. I mean, see, this is where it's like there's a certain time in the Prophet ﷺ's life, in the Sahaba's life, where they were going through really bad hardships, right? Really severe poverty, and there was like literally no food to eat, right? So you can imagine like maybe like wartime. So if you look at these war-torn areas in the world where people are suffering from famine, starvation, and you see their stomachs and you see their bodies, and they've hardly got any flesh on their body. And so this is what they were talking about. The hadith does not mean that people should be encouraged to tie stones to their stomach, because we don't find later Sahaba doing this. Like, it wasn't like a practice of later Sahaba to go around putting stones in your stomach. So it wasn't like it most likely would have been like some sort of a wrap. So you get like maybe some stones or something, and you put it onto your stomach, and then you get like a cloth or something, like a belt, and you tie it around. Like people put their back ties when they're doing weights, and they put that belt on. So it would have been something like that, which would have been holding the stomach so that it doesn't feel, it feels a bit full. Because like if you press your stomach in, if you're hungry, it kind of satiates it for a little while. In the video you're doing wudu with one glass, is the wudu valid with so little water? Yes. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ actually is reported he used to do wudu with that much water, 700 milliliters. Yeah, about 700 milliliters or so. So that's the kind of surprising thing. A lot of people don't realize that the Prophet ﷺ, he actually used to do wudu with that much water. Is a mud, and maybe next time I can show you guys the mud. And it was like 700 milliliters. So it's like, how much wudu are you going to do? So yeah. So water has reached the scalp. No, it doesn't have to reach the scalp. So all you have to do is just with wet hands, just wipe the head. So we're not doing ghusl. For ghusl, you have to get water into the scalp. Yeah, and the Prophet ﷺ actually used to do whole ghusl with 4 of those. Imagine that. So imagine the mud, right? So the mud, and the mud, 4 mud make up 1 sa', and the Prophet ﷺ used to do a bath. Imagine with 4 cups of water. As the narrations mention, 4 cups of water. And you try. I try to do wudu with 1 cup of water, and you find it very difficult because I'm so used to wasting water, as in putting the tap on and using loads of water. But Sahaba, they didn't have taps. They just had water. They would scoop up with their hands and just use it like that. So yeah, something new. Why now? The podcast is amazing. I wish you guys could start a little earlier because it finishes really late. But all 3 of you, yeah, the reason why we don't start earlier is, first of all, because I do Taraweeh, right? So we do our Taraweeh before, or we do as much as we can. Then later on we finish our Taraweeh off. So we do pray our Taraweeh. And the other thing is, I know a lot of people out there want to pray their Taraweeh as well. So we don't want to make it such. So what we might have to do in the future is just cut it off at 1 hour or something like that. Maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours, cut it off. Because we don't want people, because we had some people saying like, you're you're distracting people from Allah's words, and you're distracting people from night worship. And people don't have to watch it. People can watch it later on. They don't have to be there live. You can watch it later on if you like. We don't have any issues with that. So yeah, I mean, timing is always going to be a problem in Ramadan. Ideally, we wanted it to be before iftar, but the problem with that is we realize that before iftar, a lot of people are going to be preparing for iftar. Jazakallah khair, why now? London, and another podcast idea: get someone on it who is from a different understanding from you. I know you do your best to play devil's advocate. Yeah, you caught us out there. Yeah, so I mean, we would love that. Maybe in the future, inshallah, we can get some other types of people, as long as it's not going to be some hot, intense sort of debates and arguments. As long as people can talk to each other in a civilized manner, we're happy. We're fine. Wa alaikum assalam. MP boss, for example, bring on Muslim educators, chefs, businessmen, authors. Yeah, definitely. That's what. So hopefully Monday we're going to bring a chef, inshallah, and then maybe after that Thursday we might bring in for education. Might bring someone in who's actually one of the main guys who's actually designing a course, our syllabus for Asufa, for the Arabic course. So we might bring him on. And he's got a lot of insight as well into teaching Arabic. Why now? That's a good idea, Patrick. Yes, yeah. So that was the answer, Patrick. So basically, it doesn't matter how soft it is. You can soft as you like, but as long as you try doing sajda on there, and the duration of your sajda, as long as your body comes to a standstill, right? Doing sajda on there is fine. How to purify nafs, as many troubling questions coming from the mind. So purification of nafs, my brother, is a very, very difficult thing. It's the hardest thing, probably. But yeah, I think a lot of people want to purify the nafs, and I think it's difficult. The best kind of way, if you want the fast track, get in contact with someone who is very familiar with this, has lots of experience, and let them give you like tips. Ask them to be your mentor and give you tips, right? Just like if you have, personal mentors, personal trainers. You Ustad, in Surah Waqia verse 8 talks about the three groups of people on the Day of Judgment: left, right, and those who are in the. How are right and those four different? So, so the forward are the ones who are like ahead of everyone, and then you got the right and the left. So it's like the forward are the ones ahead of everyone, and then they're gold, you can say. Then you got like silver is the one on the left, on the right, and the one on the left is not even bronze. They're like in Jahannam, may Allah save us. Yeah, so it's basically how the Arabs say things. So when the Arabs would say about someone who's ahead of everyone, as in like right at the top of the table, like in English we'd say this guy's on the top of the table, or he's gold. Arabs don't say that. They would say he's ahead, sabiq, sabiqun, right? And then the right hand side, the Arabs would use the right hand side to mean virtue. When are you going to release the next YouTube video answering a question in detail? I really like it. And can I pray online and holding Mus'haf answers? I mean, see, yeah, you like those, yeah? If you give me kind of like really good questions, right, I can like research them as much as I can, and then I can put them up. So the only reason I put them up was because I was getting lots of questions about these two topics. That's why I put it up. The other one that a lot of people were asking me, but it's died down now, is the whole issue of the 18 degrees and 15 degrees issue. So I'm thinking maybe talk about the 15, 18 degrees, but you let me know. Let me know in the main comments, not in the chat. In the main comments, if you put it in the main comments, then later on I can have a look at it, inshallah. Do they do different deeds, or both do same deeds but those forward more? So it could be for many reasons. It could be their sincerity is different. It could be the quality of their deeds is different. It could be that they had less sins, right? Or they asked tawbah, they asked more tawbah. Could be for a variety of reasons. White Elephant, good morning. How are you, White Elephant? My Christian friend. Ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban, welcome. Ibrar, yes, I agree. We should meet up for a steak, inshallah. You read my mind, bro. You read my mind. Yeah. I'm thinking about doing inshallah barbecue of a wagyu steak one day, inshallah. Wagyu steak. I need to get hold of a wagyu steak. I haven't had one yet. Right, what Hogwarts house do you belong to? The Wizarding World Sorting Hat said I'm a Hufflepuff. I don't know, you know. I don't know the difference between them. I mean, I have watched Harry Potter, and I read a little bit of the book, but I don't know. I don't know the difference. I'm more of a kind of like sci-fi kind of person. Star Trek, something like that. Imran Hussein, Assalamu alaikum. Is Eid namaz permissible in the home according to Ahnaf? No, not permissible. But he's a Ravenclaw. I don't know. So which one? Basically, which one would you guys put me in? Fahim, wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan. What is the ruling of i'tikaf this year for men with the masajid being closed? Is there virtue in doing it at home? No, men cannot do i'tikaf at home. What I would say is every masjid at least should have one person in the masjid doing i'tikaf. So at least one person. So if the masjid can cater and have a person staying there, right, I think that would be the best thing, because i'tikaf is considered to be, fard kifaya. Yeah, so it's like, or sunnah kifaya, depending on the opinions. So it's as long as one person is doing it in the community, then obligation is uplifted upon everyone else. Is it permissible to pray salah whilst hair is tied for a male if you have long hair like yourself? If it's up in a way where when you go into sajda it looks as though it's going against sajda, then it's disliked. But if it's tied in such a way that you're allowing the hair to drop, right, then it should be okay. I enjoyed the question answered in detail too. You could do more of them for popular questions. Yeah. So I'm thinking of maybe doing, things like that even. I mean, one of the things that I was thinking about doing was a famous kind of thing that, a woman's voice is aura. A woman's voice is aura. It's a famous thing that many people are attributing to the Hanafis and saying that this is the madhab. So this is a misconception. I thought I'd clear up, but because it's Ramadan, I don't think in Ramadan it's sort of like relevant at the moment. So I'm trying to look for relevant ones. Is praying qada afdal in Ramadan or reciting Quran? Reciting Quran will be. I mean, qada is always necessary, but reciting Quran is afdal. So when you say afdal, which is more virtuous, afdal means more virtuous, more better. Quran is obviously, but qada is obviously a priority in all situations, whether it's Ramadan or non-Ramadan. Do you have other YouTube channels? No, not yet. What's the method of Qunut Nazila according to Hanafis? So Qunut Nazila is you do have to in Fajr, and if you start it, you got to do it for 1 month. And after you finish the 2 rakats of, you finish the ruku of the second rakat of Fajr in the Fard Salat. So when you get up and say Sami Allahu liman hamida, that's when you say it. And some Hanafis say you can raise your hands, and some Hanafis say you put your hands on your sides. And basically that's how it's done. So next one, most Salafis in UK have made fatwa tabligh is bid'ah. What's your views? Wallahu alam. I mean, I don't really kind of like when you say Salafis, there's like various types of Salafis. I know many Salafis that actually go tabligh. So I no offense, boss, but I think your information isn't correct. Maybe there's a small group of Salafis that say this, because I know many Salafis that actually go to tabligh Jamaat. Can I become a doctor? Yes, why not? Excellent, become a doctor. Ibrar, can you give us some more tips how to control our desires? I mean, desire, everyone has desires. Even I find it difficult to control my desires. It's something you try and do day for day. Day after day, you try your best. Take it day by day. Yeah, control your diet. Control the kind of things that you look at. Yeah, control the kind of people that you hang around with. These are the main kind of things that affect your desires. Did you have a good May the 4th be with you day? Oh yeah, May the 4th be with you. I think so. I can't even remember what day that was, but my days were good. Is putting flowers on the ground graves permissible? There's ikhtilaf regarding this. Okay, so I'm going to finish in a bit. Right, I'm going to finish, guys, in a bit. So I won't be answering any more questions, any more new questions anyway. Okay, can a menstruating woman recite the Quran from memory? No, she can't. So from you stated earlier, would it be permissible to do sujood on a bed mattress for somebody who is ill? Yes, they can. I mean, as long as it's a mattress which stops when you sit on it, it goes down and stops. It doesn't keep going down. If the Prophet ﷺ is infallible, how come in the Sharh Sadr incident a black blotch was removed? That's got nothing to do with being infallible. Infallible means that he doesn't commit any sins. That's what it means. So this is just like the Prophet ﷺ, he hurt himself. So him hurting himself or him having some medical treatment done to him doesn't necessarily go against the infallibility. Will you have 50k subscribers? Allahu Akbar. So 50k guys, hopefully by Sunday I should hit 50k. So what do you guys think I should do? I mean, I was actually thinking of waiting for something like 100k to do something really big. Yeah, because 50k we kind of reached it very quick. So maybe something small I can do. But the real big time one is for the 100k. So if I hit 100k, what do you guys want me to do? Yeah. Let me know your ideas. Had some ideas in my head. One idea was that I would choose a book, a small book, a text, and do like a whole full one video of teaching the entire book. Yeah, that would be like, something that Mr. Beast would do. I thought maybe I'd do something like that. But then I thought, you know what? I'm Ramadan. So forget that. Okay. Can you explain the whole issue on the moon? No, I can't explain it, bro. I'm fasting, bro. I say you're a Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff hybrid. Sounds cool, that is. I love Star Wars, man. I haven't seen the Star Trek, but I knew Kirk and the Enterprise are a thing. Do you like Star Wars? Yeah, Star Wars is good. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Someone asked for guidance in Islamic knowledge. I gave you a channel. Hope it helps. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah. Hopefully it will help them. Do you have another job besides YouTube? Yes. This is not my job. This is not my main job. My main job, I have a full-time job. This is something I try to do in my spare time. So basically, I have no spare time now. Is COVID-19 messing with your Ramadan traditions? Yes, in a way. It's kind of, because normally in Ramadan we have mass gatherings where we pray, and we can't have that this time. So that's the main kind of issue that we've got. Otherwise, besides that, everything else is normal. What is more important to you, wisdom or hard work? If wisdom is more important to you, you're a Ravenclaw. Hard work is more important. I think both. Wisdom and hard work. Wisdom with hard work. Malaysia already opened its economy here. Alright. But still can't pray Jummah. What are your opinion on giving adhan using loudspeaker in the UK? May non-Muslims feel religion being imposed onto them? Yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think there should be also a balance between the two. You should do a members section on your channel where subscribers join, paying £5-10 a month, and you post videos there that only members can watch. You could put your Uruk surahs, courses there, etc. Okay. It's like Patreon but all on YouTube. Alright. Do skydiving and bungee jumping? Skydiving scary, man. Bungee jumping maybe. Skydiving, you don't know, when you see those people like fall down and break their bones. White elephant, that would be freaking dope. Be like Mr. Beast. That would be amazing. 100k subscribers, 24-hour live Q&A, halal Mr. Beast. 24-hour. Whoa. White elephant, MPs, skydiving would be dope. Fatima, what is the ikhtilaf in flowers and grave? So the ikhtilaf basically is, there's a narration where the Prophet ﷺ, he put some plants on some graves of two people, and he said this will hopefully decrease their suffering. And so some have said that because the Prophet ﷺ done it, we can do it. And others have said no, you can't do it because it's resembling like a different faith, and as Muslims you have to stay away from resembling different faiths. So that's the difference of opinion. Yeah, it does man. We need a lieutenant commander data to become Muslim. He would be a mujtahid. Yeah, man. But the only problem is he wouldn't have feelings, so he wouldn't know like what kind of masla to apply where. Yeah, because to be a mujtahid, you need to be in touch with your society, and he's not in touch with the society. He can't react to them. He can't, empathize with them. Why do Muslims need to pray Makkah, or is it that the West a West myth? Yeah, so facing Makkah is a sign of unity. So because in Makkah there's a famous mosque that's considered to be the first place that God was worshipped on earth. So Muslims are commanded to face that direction for unity. So that direction has no special significance besides unity. That's it. So we only face in prayer in that direction because to make the entire Muslim, so every Muslim around the world faces in one direction. Just like, you have Jews that face towards the West, or Christians. Many Christian churches are built towards the East. They face the East, like that. Africans, wa alaikum assalam. Umar Shahid, wa alaikum assalam. Ruling about masturbation if someone fears zina. Yeah, so if a person fears zina, they're going to fall into zina, then the Hanafis have said it would be allowed only for that situation. African Soul, Ramadan Kareem, you have a cool name, African Soul. I put vanilla extract in food thinking it doesn't have alcohol, but it does. And I have some chocolates with natural vanilla extract. Should I not eat them? So if you... it depends actually. If you put the vanilla extract into food, then no, don't eat it. Because vanilla extract contains alcohol, ethanol, no. If vanilla is found inside of food itself, and they haven't mentioned any alcohol content, because sometimes they only put a small amount in. I mean, to be safe, I would avoid it. To be safe, because I'd have to read the ingredients and speak to some people. Okay, thank you. I gotta go. Take care. Always. How do you read more Arabic? How to read more Arabic? Just read. The best thing to read with a teacher. Or emotions chip. Did he actually have that? I thought that was like a one-off thing. Yeah, if he has an emotion chip, then he's got conscience, isn't he? Or has he? Shukran akhi. How many years was your dars in Zayn for? It was for 8 years. Alright guys, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for the live stream. I'm going to be doing a zakat workshop inshallah on the National Zakat Foundation's Facebook. So go onto their Facebook, check it out. 6 o'clock inshallah it's going to start. It's going to be for an hour. I'm going to be answering questions, explaining about zakat. If you have any sort of questions, you can post your questions over there inshallah. And hopefully I will be able to answer you guys inshallah. And if I can't, I'll try to find out the answer inshallah. Fatima, what is the hadith on walking on a certain number of steps, then the dead wakes up from the grave and he can hear the footsteps? Yes. Yeah, there is a narration. I mean, I'm finished now. I won't be answering any more questions. Munir, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban. Homework coming to you in a few. Don't worry, bro. Don't worry, man. You take care, guys. Everyone, jazakumullah khair. And also, inshallah, like I said, podcast on Monday. We're going to be having Chef, inshallah, Chef Yahya from Haludi Foodie. So Haludi Foodie, check that out. And you can see his recipe. Maybe if you've got questions for him, maybe if you're interested in becoming a more serious chef, and kind of things that he kind of experienced, you guys can ask him those questions there, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much and take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.